Stop it! Are you crazy?
She's being too freaking loud. Keep her quiet, damn it!
When our daughter was crying horribly at night, my husband suddenly splashed, literally, a whole bucket full of water on her and on me as well. She screamed and started crying even more loudly. Immediately after that, I heard a dull thump and looked over to see my husband lying down on the floor in front of me. Apparently, he'd slipped on a puddle of water he had created when he dumped all that water on us. I was startled for but a moment, but then I couldn't stop my face from twisting into a smile. Felt good to see him in some kind of pain after everything he's ever done to me and to my daughter. However, he never moved a muscle for a while after that, let alone stand up to continue with his selfish yelling. Suspicious, I approached my husband and was shocked into silence. This is the story of how an unreasonably narcissistic and selfish man eventually got what he brought upon himself, and how I could also pay him back for all the cruel things he did to me and my daughter. My name is Gemma Stacy, and I'm a 28-year-old municipal employee. I once had a family of 3, which consisted of my husband, Berrigan, and our 1-year-old daughter, Caroline. And our story begins when I was still on the parental leave after giving birth to my daughter. Berrigan is 10 years older than me and is the sole proprietor of his own personal gym. Although there is quite a substantial difference in age between the two of us, he is quite popular because of his well-trained, muscular body and handsome face. While I was frequenting his gym, Berrigan and I started talking about each other during our sessions, and we eventually got very close. I was frankly surprised that he called for me one day and confessed he had feelings for me. Why was I surprised, you ask? Well, back then, his gym was doing pretty well with business, and what with Berrigan's physique and good looks, he obviously became a target for quite a handful of attracted girls, young and old. When he confessed he had feelings for me, this is what he said.
You're the only woman who actually signed up for my sessions because you had the intention of keeping fit and maintaining a healthy life. I know I get a lot of female customers, most of which are admittedly attractive, but I also know that they signed up only because they want something personal from me. And I find those kinds of women disgusting. They've done the same thing to other guys in the past, for sure, and they most likely left them after leaving them broken. I'm not one to fall for any bitch like that. But you? It's a different story. You're pure, you're honest, and you're a good talker. I love spending time with you.
Those words literally made my entire month, and I gladly accepted him as my new boyfriend. We stayed together for about 1.5 years before tying the knot. As our marriage progressed, however, I became somewhat dissatisfied with Berrigan for a particular reason, but I told myself not to worry about it and went on to spend my days with him. The dissatisfaction was with his self-centered way of thinking and his attitude toward life.
Hey, Gemma, I'm sorry, but looks like I'm short of money this month. Again. Could you please take care of our living expenses for this month?
What? I paid for the living expenses last month, too, Berrigan. We agreed to split it 50-50. I pay for everything one month, and you pay for everything every other month.
I'm sorry, but I spent a bit on men's beauty treatments and tanning salons this month.
Honey, I think you spend too much on beauty treatments. We're married now, and we need to save up for children and for a better apartment.
You don't understand, Gemma. I'm a businessman who owns a private fitness gym. The way I look affects the business more substantially than you'd think. Just consider the beauty treatments and the tanning salon visits as investments in my own business.
I don't know about that, honey.
Gym members come to my gym because they admire me and my physique. I'm trying to improve myself, and that's what's going to bring in a bunch of sales.
I just don't know. He was absolutely obsessed with improving his appearance and his masculine beauty, and he was willing to spend time and money to do so. But Berrigan started feeling frustrated more often because of the fact that he was not able to maintain his figure as well as he wanted to. I mean, of course not. The dude's approaching 40. He wasn't exactly the Arnold Schwarzenegger of our city anymore. No matter how much you train without any testosterone boosters of steroids, age will always become the burden that'll become too much to bear. Happens to everyone, and yet...
Damn! I've gained weight again! I guess my diet isn't good. I need to start eating better quality meat. Hey, Gemma, be sure to buy some good meat, alright?
We'll never be able to save money if you're so extravagant. You're getting old enough to gain some weight, Berrigan. You just have to accept that you are changing, whether you want it to or not. From my point of view, his appearance was far from anything near unhealthy, and I don't think he needed to be overly nervous, but he just wouldn't listen to me.
People like you who eat, sleep, and live like a loaf of dead, white bread every day wouldn't understand. If I gain weight, all the members of my gym will be disappointed that I'm not keeping up with my training regime. How can one teach another person to achieve a certain goal when you yourself have yet to achieve that goal? I owe it to them to live up to their expectations.
People who eat, sleep, and live like a loaf of dead, white bread every day is a bit of an overstatement, I think. I was pregnant by this point, and Berrigan started to sarcastically and derisively criticize me for gaining weight by satisfying my cravings by eating a lot without exercising very much.
You know it's true, don't you? Your once fit as a fiddle body now has a small, pathetic layer of fat. You've recently developed a bit of a paunch. In a nutshell, you're starting to look like all the old ladies that I often see at my gym.
I can't help the fact my belly's starting to grow, Berrigan. I'm pregnant after all. It's disgusting that you would say such an insulting thing.
I don't mean to insult you, but I hate it when I look at you because I feel like I'm getting fat too.
Unfreaking believable. I can't believe you would hurt someone for such a ridiculous reason.
Hurt someone? Oh, come on now, Gemma. You're overreacting. Can't you even take a joke?
What exactly about downright criticizing your own wife for appearing to be fatter than she once was is a joke here? You just say whatever you want. You have no idea how I feel right now, Berrigan, and I'm hoping you come to your senses soon, because so help me, I don't know what I'll do, but it's not going to be something good for you.
I'm going through a lot too, Gemma. Why the frick are you whining, eh?
He took out his frustrations on me, and since I was pregnant and nervous, I began to strongly despise this side of him. And when I tried to argue with him, he would often get upset because of his pride of being an older man with a set-in-stone image of himself. I had grown to love Berrigan mostly because I thought he was one of those cool, popular guys who also had a nice personality, unlike most jerks, and also because he seemed to have a boyish innocence. But looking at him through new lenses right then, I began to realize that the innocence which I'd grown to trust was nothing more than a simply egotistical, selfish irresponsibility for his actions. And did I mention that his irritation was due not only to his own declining appearance, but also to the declining business situation at the gym? I was also a part-time administrative clerk there for a short time, and I occasionally kept in touch with some of the instructors. But apparently, Berrigan had been abusing his power as the sole proprietor, and the harassment he displayed before them had become quite a problem. So it turned out that his power harassment was the one and only cause for some of the best instructors to quit their jobs for places with a better working environment. As the instructors started to go, so too did Berrigan's clients. And before he knew what was happening, the number of regulars that still took his lessons drastically changed from around 120 to about 30 or 35. And as his wife, I was worried about his job. Is everything okay at work, honey? I heard you have a bit of shortage in staff.
No, I don't. Everything's fine. It's better they quit and go somewhere else if they mean to interfere with my business.
Why don't you call them and ask them to come back to work for you? I'm pretty sure you'll get a lot of clients back if you do that.
Did you not hear what I just said? I'm basically glad they're not working for me anymore. They were causing so much trouble, it was becoming a real nuisance to the enterprise.
I'm worried about your job, honey. And I'm worried about our future with our baby girl coming soon.
What are you worried about? You're always so pessimistic, Gemma. You know that? I think you ought to tell yourself that keeping positive is one of the most important things in life.
I mean, I guess, but I have a good reason to be worried. You're a business owner, and I think you should take better care of your employees, your instructors, essentially.
That gym is literally built on my looks and charm. I don't want employees who can't make me shine. And the last thing I want for the business is instructors with big attitudes who get in the way.
He proved himself to be a vain man, and he wouldn't listen to my opinion. He had always relied on his employees to take care of all the troublesome aspects of running the gym, such as tedious administrative work regarding taxes and expenses and stuff like that. And everyone gave up on him because he forgot to provide the proper payback to all of the excellent employees who supported him in the grand scheme of things. Soon after, I was in the last month of pregnancy and went on maternity leave. By this point, the business situation at his gym was worsening more and more rapidly, and he was growing increasingly frustrated. He really did not seem to care about how the pregnancy was going, and that was obviously a problem, given how close I was to giving birth. I tried several times to make him feel like he was going to become a father, and how there were going to be responsibilities for him as the father of his daughter. Hey, They have those parent-child classes at the maternity hospital. Fathers are also welcome in participating, so why don't we go together, honey? It'll be a good opportunity for you to prepare yourself for what's to come.
You know I don't have time for that. I know you can take it easy with your nice vacation, but I'm self-employed, so I can't afford to take it easy.
I know you have a job to do, and what with the times being not as you hoped, things must be getting pretty stressful. But I have to remind you to think about your family, too.
That's enough. Everything's been going wrong for me since I married you, it seems. And at a time like this, it's literally the worst timing possible to have a baby.
How dare you? What the hell is wrong with me? And what do you mean by the worst timing possible to have a baby? It's our baby, Berrigan, and we have a responsibility to do our best to take care of her.
I'm going through a tough time and you're making it harder for me. Can't you even understand that?
I had no energy to argue with his stupid selfishness. His deteriorating situation with his gym is all his own doing, not mine or our unborn child's. And yet he doesn't see it as his own fault and says that everything has been going wrong since he married me. This is a completely false accusation. I was not sure if he would cooperate with me in raising our child, since this was the case even before I ever gave birth. Fortunately, the birth went extremely smoothly, and over the next couple of days, my daughter Caroline drank a lot of milk and slept well. My parents also lived close by, so I stayed at home for 2 months after the birth and took care of the baby with Mom's help. Berrigan never visited during this time because he was, quote, just too damn busy to do anything stupid like that. And obviously my parents were worried about how fatherly he would actually be in the near future. My parents-in-law contacted me to congratulate me, but they were concerned about their son's cold attitude as well, so they took care of me by providing me a variety of baby items instead. However, Berrigan called me to complain about them sending things for the baby. For instance,
Hey, my parents sent us a stupid crib, and it's in the middle of the training room. It's literally in the way of my important training, so I'm going to throw it out, alright?
What? Wait, no, what are you talking about? Please, don't throw it away.
Why not, Gemma? I can't train in this room if we leave it here.
Your parents did us a kind favor by buying it for Caroline. Please, don't do anything stupid. If I have to throw it away, I'll call your parents and tell them you wasted their money.
What? Why are you gonna do such a freaking unnecessary thing?
It was given to us as a baby gift from your parents, and you, their damn son, is trying to throw it away and make their near $1,000 purchase they made a waste. Anyone who wouldn't call them about this sort of situation would be crazy.
Okay. You win. Damn it. What the frick? This is such a damn nuisance.
Berrigan didn't like the fact that the nursery items and crib were placed in his own training space at home. I was worried about his insensitivity to throw away the items my parents-in-law had sent as a kind of baby shower, and I knew I couldn't stay with Mom and Dad forever, so I decided to take my daughter Caroline home with me after a few more days.
You're home already? I wish you'd stay at your parents' a little longer, I'll be honest.
I came home to my own house. Got a problem with that, do you?
My, what a bad mood you're in.
I was disappointed to see that he did not seem to welcome my daughter and me when we came home, nor did he even seem to care. I was also exasperated to see that her crib and other baby items were still packed and gathering dust in the room. My husband had done nothing to prepare to welcome our newborn into our home. I unpacked the baby items and assembled the crib to make room for our daughter. But all the while, my husband was complaining about the placement of the crib, which was quite frustrating for me. Imagine trying to do tiring physical work for a long while, listening to a stupid, unhelpful person complain for an unnecessarily long-ass while. Shit's not fun, let me tell you.
Hey, what the hell? If you put it here, Gemma, it's gonna be in the way for when I do calisthenics.
Then where do you want me to put it? If you're going to complain about it, why didn't you do it yourself?
I didn't want this from the beginning.
Look, you may not need any of this, but our darling baby girl does. Whether Caroline could feel the discord or not, I will never know. But one possible thing was that she was more sensitive to the change of environment since we moved from my parents' house. She frequently became fidgety. Her cries became a bit of a problem too, and I had to carry her in my arms while I cleaned up to calm her down. Berrigan only complained and didn't seem to want to help at all, and when she started crying more loudly, he went into the bedroom and closed the door behind him. I was depressed because I now knew that I could not expect any help from him when it came to taking care of our child. From that day on, Caroline, who had been a good sleeper until then, began to cry quite loudly at night. Once she started crying at night, she kept crying on and on and on, no matter what I did, whether I held her in my arms or breastfed her, and I often had to spend the whole night holding her talking to her, trying to get her to calm down with all my might. After she began crying at night more and more often, Berrigan, who came home from work exhausted, became even more furious because of the wretched sound and began to lash out at me and my daughter pretty frequently.
Again? You're making too much freaking noise, you damn bitch! Hey, Gemma, do something about it.
Quiet down. I'm putting her to bed.
Well, you're not freaking doing it right if she's still wailing like a damn banshee. Why the frick are you making her cry in the middle of the night for anyway?
Berrigan's dissatisfaction with the situation and the burden of child rearing on my tired postpartum body began to make me feel like he was nothing more than a burden to me. One day, when our relationship had grown ice cold, Berrigan came home in an even worse mood than usual. As soon as he entered the house, he started yelling at me and Caroline, calling us nasty things. Evidently, Caroline started to cry, and that made him become even more irritated.
It's over. I'm just freaking done.
What's going on?
I'm getting rid of that wretched gym. We're in so much debt, we can't handle it anymore.
The gym that he had owned was already operating at a pretty substantial deficit, and he had no choice but to give it up. It must have been unbearable for him, who had lived his life the way he wanted to, but for me, it was nothing but a foregone conclusion. Anyway, let's calm down and think about the future.
You sound so optimistic. Damn it, I'm gonna be unemployed.
Please, stop yelling. You're making Caroline cry louder. And you know she won't stop crying when she starts.
Make her stop crying then, you freaking bitch. That's your damn job around here.
Oh my God, you're always so full of yourself. Berrigan stormed off into his room, and we never spoke until nightfall. It was the middle of the night, and I was holding my daughter in my arms in the kitchen to soothe her when she started crying again. Berrigan usually has his door shut, and who yells at her for being too noisy from behind the door? But on this occasion, he suddenly slammed it open and ran out.
I can't take it anymore. That maggot just doesn't get it no matter how much I tell it. Take this, then, in that case.
He ran into the bathroom, filled a bucket with water, raced towards me with Caroline in my arms, and splashed the entire bucket on both of us. There was no way to escape, as we were both stuck in a corner of the kitchen. I was stunned by the sudden shower, and my daughter screamed, "Stop it! Are you crazy?"
She's being too freaking loud. Keep her quiet! Damn it!
He yelled, and as soon as he turned on his heel, there was a dull thud and his body hit the floor. Apparently, he slipped on the puddle of water he had created when he dumped all that water on us. I was startled for but a moment, but I couldn't stop my face from twisting into a smile. It felt good to see him in some kind of pain after everything he's ever done to me and my daughter. However, he never moved a muscle for a while after that, let alone stand up to continue with his selfish yelling, and my smile quickly disappeared as a result. "Berrigan, are you okay?" He seemed to be breathing, but he had fainted, and I hurriedly called an ambulance. When the paramedics arrived, they saw that the house was flooded and my daughter and I were soaking wet, so they asked me what had happened. I explained that my husband drenched me and my daughter with a bucket of water, and they called the police to report the incident. The police arrived after he was taken to the hospital, and I explained the situation again to Officer Moore, the head of the squad, and they recommended that my daughter and I should have another relative escort my husband to the hospital, since we were the ones who had been harmed. I decided to follow the police's advice, so I contacted my parents-in-law and explained the situation. They were very surprised to hear the story and promptly agreed to go to the hospital where their son was being taken. After notifying my parents-in-law, I gave my daughter a warm bath and put her to bed. As I cleaned up the flooded room, I thought about what my daughter would have gone through if Berrigan had not fallen in that puddle of water. She had continued to cry after she got drenched, and I was sure that cold water was step one of a highway to a world of pain for both of us. I decided that I should divorce him to protect myself and my daughter. When my husband was rushed to the hospital, he was apparently badly bruised internally and had suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. He managed to survive because of emergency surgery, but he was left with paralysis as an after effect. I contacted him through my parents-in-law once I knew he was conscious in the hospital and told him of my intention to divorce him. He was obviously unwilling to oblige and wanted to discuss the matter with me. I agreed on the condition that we talked over the phone.
What do you mean by divorce? If you're a wife, you ought to take care of your husband, Gemma. I need you now more than ever.
Yeah, I don't accept a man who dumps an entire bucket full of cold water on his own wife and child as a husband and father.
What? It was nothing more than water. I was almost killed, you know.
Need I remind you that it was the water that you dumped on us that made you slip? Have you considered the possibility that I might have slipped and fallen? What do you think would have happened if my baby daughter hit the floor head first?
Well, that's...
I want a divorce because you're too stupid to understand that. I have nothing more to say to you. I thought further discussion was futile and decided to sever all ties with them after this conversation. After that, my in-laws pressured him to not bother me and my daughter anymore, and he reluctantly accepted the divorce. My in-laws apologized to me and my daughter and paid me a lump sum of alimony and child support on his behalf. Since then, my parents have been working hard in rehabilitation under the supervision of his parents-in-law, and I'm pretty sure he's despising every moment of it. Personally, I decided to take an extended parental leave so I could spend more time with my daughter. Perhaps now that the house feels more relaxed and peaceful, Caroline's crying at night has stopped since when Berrigan slipped and fell into his partial doom, and she seems to have calmed down emotionally too. I promise I will continue to cherish the peaceful and happy days I spend with her, and with work starting in a while, I'm going to do everything I can to give her the wonderful life she deserves.